Welcome to your sociology class for your civil services examinations preparation. In this lecture 3, we would be touching the topic of sociology, the discipline, and sociology as science. But we are still discussing primarily the definition of sociology. We would be focusing on two more areas, that is thinking like a sociologist and what is the objective of sociology. In this lecture, we are covering these four areas. First, we'll revise lecture 2. Second, we'll touch upon the topic of the sociological imagination, thinking like a sociologist. We'll touch upon the area of objective of sociology, and I'll also give you an assignment. This assignment question is a recurrent question in civil services examinations and also in state PSC and NET examination. Lecture 2, revision. In last lecture number 2, we discussed what happens in society and who decides what happens in society. We understood that there is a difference between personal and social observation. We understood about the term lived experience, our own lived experience. We understood the importance and non-importance of our lived experience. We also understood that there are multiple societies. We understood that the individual versus society. We brought history and put it along with sociology. We understood that there is a change which is happening, historical change, sociological change. We understood the sociological imagination. We understood the difference between common sense and knowledge. We also saw the term and differentiated it, how two different disciplines changes these two terms, norms and values. We understood unintended consequences or unsuspected connections through the example of the Cobra effect, Aadhaar or Facebook or Twitter, such kind of social media. Now, the importance of revising these words are that you should jot down, note down these words. You should hear these words often and make these words part of your daily discussion, your daily experience. That's how you would be able to use these terms in writing your answers. Until unless your answer is rich with sociological vocabulary, it's not basically a sociological response. Now, let us begin our lecture 3. So, these are two tea stalls. You can see people are standing, people are talking with each other, and other observations. So, I'm giving you a time to make other observations as well. So, there is a popular saying, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. But what happens in tea stall? You must have made an observation. People from different strata visits tea stall. They are standing along or parallel with each other. In one manner, they are sharing meals with each other. They are sharing tea. Is tea a simple thing? Tea is also a metaphor in Indian society. We know that on tea stall, several discussions happens. Political discussion, social discussion. People chat with each other. You would have also noted that on tea stall there is a newspaper which is circulated among people who are customers of that particular tea stall. These are some superficial observation. Although it seems like I have said so many sentences, but still these are superficial observations. What more you can observe from by looking at that humble cup of tea, from where this tea comes, from humble tea leaf which we consume. What we can observe: colonialism. Does it has any role with Indian tea? Capitalism. Who owns the tea garden? Normal capitalist, normal small and marginal business enterprises, big capitalists, oligarchy capitalists. Who owns these tea garden? Productivity of tea garden. Is it going up? Is it going down? How the change of climate is impacting tea production? What about the labor rights issues? How government policies are made, or actually not made, to help tea laborers? We all are observing these things by observing a humble cup of tea. And in India, tea is just not tea. We sit over tea to indulge into discussion, dating, meeting, business meeting, a client dealer meeting. This all happens over a humble cup of tea. The tea is very sociological in nature. We need to observe this. Now let us take one more example. What do you see when you look at this image? It's an image from a colony. Seems like some city area. What do you take it from this image? I will choose car. Does this car looks very simple? The car is parked, which seems a footpath area. It seems that there is not enough space in the dwelling itself, in the building itself, to park the car. That's why the car is parked outside the building. Some part of footpath area and even some part of road is covered by the car parking. What kind of problem this gives rise to? What kind of sociological disturbances it may cause? Could it be a cause of conflict? How car came into India? How globalization impacted our entire car industry? Car is a symbol of mobility, freedom. Car is not a simple thing in India. It owning a car still has huge psychological connection. I have seen that people write on social media when they buy a new car. They write on social media that welcoming this in my family, added a new family member. The psychological connection of car, the ownership of car is generating several feelings. Car is of course a status symbol. The SUVs are preferred in certain area. What kind of area, what kind of society are that? Car also represents class. Car is segmented into categories. Which car represents which class? Car is also connected to gender. What is the ownership pattern of car? What is the driving pattern of car? how rapid globalization is impacting Indian car manufacturing industry, or the choices of Indians, the Hollywood movies coming in India or Korean movies coming in India, how it is impacting our choice of car. Industrial revolution started car. Henry Ford change. How car is changing entire way of living. Is it now common to take lift? Is it now common to ask our neighbor to help them, that some person from my family is sick? Would you be able to help us to take them to hospital? Is it normal now or not? Pollution, the problem which car is posing. How we are challenging those pollution problem. How we are changing our car pattern. EV vehicle, electric, electric driven car. New companies are coming into this segment. Existing companies are also entering into it. Who will be preferred by customer? Why? Is what all sociology happening around this car parking? How many murders, how many homicides have happened because of the dispute, because of the conflict which arises due to car parking? How it is changing the entire dynamics of how we look at where we are going to stay. What government regulations are being brought in to control the pollution, to control the car ownership? So, a humble car parking raises several questions. I still remember some 25 years back, one of my friend in Delhi uh, picked me up, and when we went to his car, it was parked in some colony parking. Illegal, yet controlled. Controlled by some illegitimate people. One person was wiping the car, and he was on monthly ways, monthly fixed ways. He would be involved into wiping other people's car as well. He was using the same clothes and same water because of water scarcity, and he cannot change water with every car wash. So a typical bad smell used to come when he has just cleaned it, just wiped it. So he told me, wiping car is necessary. Once you are going in traffic and the traffic stops at red light, and now every other person's car is clean. If my car is not clean, everybody would be looking at me. I would not like that to happen. Gaze, social gaze, social control. As an individual, I am so much perturbed by social gaze. This is a unique kind of social control which is happening over me. A humble car parking. But a sociologist will look into everything. What we understood from this, that a simple definition of a simple concept of sociology of gender is applicable on car also. This is how we are mixing each chapter with each other. Interconnections is necessary. That's how we will make ourselves a complete sociologist. Let us proceed and see one more thing. So it's a very popular movie by Satyajit Ray. The story was written by Premchand Sadgati. In this story, Dukhi wants the Brahmin, the Pandit, to come to his house and do some sanskar so that marriage of his daughter is solemnized properly. Dukhi is sick. Dukhi is still under fever. Dukhi's wife is concerned he should eat something before visiting the house of that Brahmin, the Pandit. But Dukhi is feeling compelled to get it done. He even discusses with this thing with his daughter. He's so much so compelled. Why this social constraint is controlling this individual when the individual is having so much problem? Individual is very poor, cannot afford to give anything to Pandit or Brahman. So Dukhi carries grass for Pandit's cow. But the Pandit asks him to carry out certain other household tasks so that he is able to pay something to Pandit. Dukhi is sick. This is an image which is showing Dukhi, a Dalit, in a particular manner. He is bowing down. He is not doing push-up exercise. He is bowing down. He is using the word Maharaj, Your Honor, is the English translation. Although we know in India, those who knows Hindi language, no, Maharaj, Sastang Dandavat, a complete bow. Satyajit Ray was a remarkable filmmaker. I think I love Premchand. I think whatever Premchand actually wrote or what went in the brain of Premchand, Satyajit Ray was able to actually depict it. See, the manner in which a Dalit is being depicted in a movie. Story is very old, naturally. Premchand was a very old author, is an old author as of now. Now compare it to a movie made in 2019, Asuran. Dhanush, a very popular actor, remarkable actor, of course. See the depiction. Both of the protagonist of the movie is wearing something in neck, which is showing their direct connection to the religion they follow, to the gods they believe in. And in Asuran, the protagonist is actually also having a tripund mark, which shows his complete dedication, his complete belief. That is what I'm inferring. You might infer differently. Sociologists are pluralistic. We saw it in our lecture 2. We could go different paths. Our argument should be scientific. Both of them are having family. I explained to you. Here in this image, I was not able to bring Dukhi's wife and Dukhi's daughter. But you see, but the manner in which they are having relationship with their wife is not different. I'll not comment on whether They are practicing gender equality or something. I'll not comment on that because I'm highlighting something different. In Asuran movie, the main protagonist is shown as a man filled with rage, anger, out for vengeance. The depiction of Dalits in mainstream cinema. See what it tells us, but does not forget to see what it hides. It is important as a sociologist for us to observe, to be able to see, and not just see through eyes. So, I'm stressing on these two words, social constraint. Two heroes, two different society, different timelines, different history, two different representations. One is able to challenge the social constraint. The dialectical approach. Think about it. Two opposing forces. Social constraint is on me. I'm opposing it. The yin yang. We'll discuss about this concept throughout our discussion of sociology. So it is important that we pick up this word at the beginning of our study itself. Let us proceed further. This is an image from the movie Kakamutai, which means the crow's egg. A new pizza store opens in neighborhood. A rich middle class neighborhood having proximity to slum dwellers. Now children from slum area has flocked there to see the shop of pizza. It's a very unique food which has come to them. It is not their staple diet. It's something very, very special. The impact of globalization. All benefit, all losses. We are not concerned about that. We are valueless sociologists. We'll just study the pattern which is happening. What globalization is doing. We are interested in that. This is how we are different from economics. Our findings could impact the economical decisions which a government will take. But our findings should be proper sociologically. Understand to gauge the impact of globalization. A slum area along with semi high rise building. Poverty, unhygiene environment, cleanliness on the road, a boundary which differentiates between these two. What is causing it all? How we are understanding the change? Now, a very important question. In your syllabus begins with Europe. Why begin our sociological study from Europe. Early humans or hunter gatherer humans, how they were living, what kind of society it was, how much complexity it hold within itself. Were they having marital, conjugal relationship? How permanent or how temporary it was? Naturally, they were procreating. How? How they were raising children? Were there gender inequality? As of now, in this timeline of history, I could ask these questions. But how asking of such questions actually started? Why begin from Europe? When this complexity started arising. See, we need to understand the logic before we jump into things. Okay, it's given in my syllabus, I'll study. But there has to be a logic, as I had said in my lecture 1. That is very logical, it's very sequential, it's very interesting. That makes it interesting. So I hope in half a sentence I have argued that why begin from Europe. Understanding change and why Europe. If you have seen the movie The Titanic, Leonardo DiCaprio wins a game, wins some money, and direct, directly rushes to take Titanic. There is no visa kind of system there that he need to go to take permission from some government to board the Titanic ship. He's just running. He just ran to catch it. He catches the ship in the very last moment. It is a story hardly 100 years back. Hmm? Since when these Western nations started the system of visa? Since when? Look for this information. And you would be surprised to see that now it feels so normal. We cannot even think of, while watching any Hollywood movie, we cannot even think of that, hey, this man is changing boundary, but he is not required to have visa. This man is actually riding a ship where generally there is a visa necessity. Cruise, you must have taken cruise. If it touches the boundary of Sri Lanka, you are required to have your visa stamped. If it comes back, it you might not require it. But the point is, visa is something which has naturalized, normalized us. We are not even thinking that it is a very recent phenomenon which happened in our society. Understand this and remember this. When we see anything, we see it with our own biases, our own positionality. If we have not changed our positionality, if we have not questioned our basic assumptions, we do not see what we see. We see what we wanted to see, or maybe some just superficial observation. A sociologist need to take up data from empirical investigation. Data, proper scientific rigor, proper scientific methodology, proper scientific research procedure, a proper concept of epistemology and ontology and validity and reliability. 5W1H. If I am thinking something and if I am not challenging my own assumption, if I have not trained myself to challenge my own assumption, understanding of the topic is going to be quite tough for me. Every time I'll just be fighting with the idea. Boss, this idea seems so alien to me. It's so remote. Especially when you would be studying paper 2, the Indian thing. Even when you are in paper 1 and you are studying sociology of religion, stratification, you will find it tough because you have not changed your positionality. Before proceeding further, you need to train yourself that from today, whenever I have a jerk thinking, I have a sudden view, sudden belief over something, I'll question myself. Is it my own belief? From where I got this? How I think in this manner? Is it actually so? Is there some data to prove it? Questioning is necessary. And this is what is going to make us a good sociologist. This is how we are cultivating our sociological imagination. What is sociology? We are discussing this. The definition of sociology. What is sociology? Sociology is taken from this word and by forming two words. Even a grade 6 student would be answering in the same manner, no? Are we supposed to answer in the same manner? Our answer has to be of the standard of a postdoctoral student. A complete argumentative stance we have to take. What is sociology? What does a word means? Lakshman Rekha. If I'll say, मेरे गुस्से की लक्ष्मण रेखा क्रॉस मत करना. Do not try to surpass the Lakshman Rekha of my anger. If someone who have never heard about Ramayana, who have never seen Ramayana, read Ramayana, how come the person would be correlate to this word Lakshman Rekha? And the manner in which the Ravana drew a Lakshman Rekha, if I'll draw a Lakshman Rekha on sand, it becomes a Lakshman Rekha or it becomes a Ramana Rekha. What is Lakshman Rekha? How it came to such usage that a Lakshman Rekha, which would have been some kind of magical line or some kind of powerful authoritative line drawn by Lakshmana, a mighty person. Can I draw the same line? So how I am using this? Am I using it as a simple metaphor? The meaning of the words comes from all kind of texts where it is written. The meaning of the word sociology will come from different texts. It will come from different authors. It is not a simple study of society. It will not work in that manner. We'll keep on studying the definition of sociology. We'll continue. 100 hours. 100 hours journey. an interesting journey, a journey of self enlightenment. It will open your eyes to look inward, to look outward as well. The point is, the concept of post structuralism tells us that the meaning of the word is never simple. We need to go into in-depth study of it. But the question remains, what is sociology? So I pose a question. What is love? A mother's love for its child is so normal. See here in this image, mother is showering her love over her child. And so natural outflow of love happening. I do not see love. I see a dedicated work which is happening there. A child is playing. The mother has to be all ready to contribute into child's play, child's safety, child's food, child's other care, child's natural issues like shushu potty and all. Child is crying, decipher whether it's hunger, thirst, any other problem. It is love. It's a job. It's a work. It's a work of care. It requires too much physical and emotional effort. Both physical and emotional effort. Even love is a work. Love requires emotional effort. And once we are emotionally overwhelmed, are we able to focus on certain other aspects of life which is around us? What is sociology? What is love? We need to continue our study to understand what is sociology. So let us take a para from Mills. I will also post it in comment section and I'll also read it. You can also pause the screen and read it comfortably, understand it, and then an assignment question follows. This is from Mills, the book, The Sociological Imagination, and is basically chapter 1. The sociological imagination enables its possessor to understand the larger historical scene. I am doing what? I am observing larger historical scene in terms of its meaning for the inner life and external career of a variety of individuals. It enables to take into account how individuals in the welter of their daily experience. Welter means the helter skelter of life. वो जिंदगी के उतार चढ़ाव जो something of that sense, welter, often becomes falsely conscious of their social positions. My social position. I am doing what? In welter of my daily experience, I am falsely conscious. Within that welter, the framework of modern society is sought, and within that framework, the psychologies of a variety of men and women are formulated. By such means, the personal uneasiness of individuals is focused upon explicit troubles and the indifference of publics is transformed into involvement with public issues. What Mills is telling in this paragraph? The sociological imagination. Done. We are discussing about that. What it is doing? It is enabling the possessor, me, the sociologist. It is enabling me to do what? To do what? Before getting into that, I am into what? I am into filter of my daily experience. What I am doing? I am affixing my identity with my filter of daily experience. Now, come to the larger historical scene. To understand the larger historical scene, I am doing what I am doing. What is the larger historical scene about it? I am doing certain work. What is the larger historical scene to it? I am doing household work. What is the larger historical scene to it? And within that filter, the framework of modern society is sought. And within that framework, the psychologies of variety of men and women are formulated. Pause it and read it slowly, breaking into paragraphs, breaking into words. I am taking one more paragraph. The first fruit of this imagination and the first lesson of the social science that embodies it is the idea that the individual can understand his own experience and gauge his own fate only by locating himself within his period, that he can know his own chances in life only by becoming aware of those of all individuals in his circumstances. I am at a certain time, I am in a certain experience, I am gauging it, I am gauging it of others as well, and now I am becoming aware of circumstances. In many ways, it is a terrible lesson, in many ways, a magnificent one. Now, in next para, Mills will complete it, how it could be a terrible lesson and how it could be a magnificent one. We do not know the limits of a man's capacities for supreme effort or willing degradation, for agony or glee, for pleasurable brutality or the sweetness of reason. Say, whenever two opposing terms comes, people call it binary. But see the beauty in this sentence. It is not creating any binary. But in our time, we have come to know that the limits of human nature are frighteningly broad. We have come to know that every individual lives from one generation to the next in some society that he lives out a biography. In some society, Mills is able to see that one individual could have multiple societies, and one individual society is equally different from other individual society. By the fact of his living, he contributes, however minutely, to the shaping of this society. I am living and I am shaping this society. And by its historical push and shove, I am also getting shaped by the historical push and shove of this society. The sociological imagination, Mills is concluding, the sociological imagination enables us to grasp history. History is important, and biography, individual's biography, and the relations between the two within society. History, biography, relations between the two within this society. That is its task and its promise. So now your assignment is to write. You think that you have just studied these words and all, and lecture 2 and 3 discussion. Write the definition of sociology. What is sociology? So in our next lecture, the journey of self enlightenment will continue, and discussion of what is sociology will also continue. Thank you very much for watching.